Are home prices crashing in Chandler, Arizona? Because if you look at the headlines, okay, especially real estate news, okay, it feels like the market is changing very fast. Nationally, home prices have slowed, and Arizona has almost stopped growing. And Chandler prices, we're gonna show the data in a minute, are now slightly lower than last year. So, but does that mean that the market is crashing? So the short answer is not exactly. And today I want to break down what's happening nationally here in Arizona and right here in Chandler. So the buyers and the sellers can understand what really is going on. With that, let's dive right into the first data chart. This one right here shows the home price appreciation for the entire US. This is a home price growth, okay, for the entire US year over year. And as you see here back in 2022, we have every single month about 20% year over year. This is the fastest growth period we ever seen in the US history, 20 to 22%. And for that reason, a lot of people remember about this period, right? Because it's the highest and because it's the most recent increase as well at this level. So a lot of people nowadays still remember. So when we look at the current data, right, we see only about 1%, even less than 1%, okay, 0.75%, 2% for the last 12 months. People see that the growth has slowed and in almost every single month, and therefore they're scared. They're scared that it could be, a crash in the market. But here's the thing, a lot of people interpret this data chart wrongly. A small positive is still a positive. In other words, it's still an increase, but it's not at the crazy level of 2022. The only 2 months that we actually have a drop in price is April 23 and May 23, right? Other than that, every single other month are still a positive, regardless of whether it's a big number, a big increase, or a small minimal increase. So the market is not going crazily high like 2022. It doesn't crash like 2008, 2009, but it is more at the balanced market, okay? Which is a very good thing for both sides, the buyers and the seller. And let me explain to you a little bit later on as well. But before I move forward, I just want to let you know that we do have the free homebuyer webinar specifically designed for immigrant first-time homebuyer. In this webinar, I am going to talk about how can you choose your team member, the one who can help you find a house. How can you save up for the down payment? Okay, even though you make a lot of money, but you okay, at the end of the month you don't know where the money goes, and you never be able to save up for the down payment, right? So it's very challenging. I will talk about the 5 specific steps that you can implement today to save up 1,000 and to save for the down payment. Secondly, we are going to talk about how to select the house the right way so that you don't fall into the problem after you move into the house, just like me. I'm gonna share a story, a lesson learned, a live lesson learned story about myself, right? So that you can avoid the same mistake that I have. The webinar is completely free, open to anyone. If you're thinking about buying a house in the next 6 months, it's for you. If you are not looking to buy a house, that's fine. Please forward this webinar to anyone potentially interested in this. Okay? With that, let's go to the next chart. So we already looked at the national data. Let's look at the Arizona data. Okay? So this chart is prepared by Comfort Associates, one of the most reliable real estate data in Arizona. And now this chart is a little bit different than this in a way that each of the line here represent a year. I want to show more of the trending. That's why I think this chart is more helpful. Okay, so if you look at the chart, okay, you're gonna see again the same kind of pattern. 2021 and 2022, crazily high percentage of annual appreciation. This one is about 24-25% even. So it's crazy period right there that we have. And since then, the appreciation has dropped, okay? To the point that even 2024, we have some period here in Arizona that actually price drop. Just similar to, the US, but in here is 2023 versus Arizona a little bit delay, okay? A little bit delay in 2024, okay? So we do have up to now is about, as you see, all the dot for 2026, starting since May, is about 0%, okay? So I would say that by looking at this, okay, the trend down, okay, 2005 here, go down, 2006 go down, it has stopped because it's reaching the 0 and then it's never go down to 0, okay? So again, a lot of people come to the conclusion right away that 0 means market crashing. Well, that's not really true, right? Similar situation here. A 0 is not a dropping number, okay? It's not like a -2 or -5 here. But it's also not a crazily high appreciation neither. So but it's more like a stable market, a market that's stabilizing after crazily high increase back in 2021 and 2022. So what does that mean to the buyer? This matters because many buyers are still waiting for the huge crash. But the opportunity right now may be even better, okay? Because of course you're not gonna have the to-be crash price, right? Which never happened, by the way. At least for the most couple, like for the recent years, okay? But you're gonna have a better terms. You're gonna be able to negotiate more for inspection, for seller credit. And the best of all, you don't have a lot of competition in today's market. I'm gonna show you a couple charts later on about the buyers and sellers activities as well, so that you understand how much competition you have nowadays. But those are the reason the buyers should act now, because the market is not crashing. What are you waiting for? Okay, it's mainly stabilizing after a long period that it has increased crazy in 2021 and 2022. So what about Chandler? So these charts right here show Chandler, okay, appreciation, annual appreciation. Currently, it is about negative 1.5% to 2%, right? And then the trend is still down. But as you see here, starting from April 2009, April 9, 2026, is almost balanced, it's almost flattened out. So hopefully as the year go by, it's more flat rather than going down. Now come down to here, a lot of people say, Long, 1.5. Hey, you've been saying that it is not a negative number. Now we have a negative number. Well, here's the reason. Well, Chandler is one of the highest appreciation cities in 2021 and 2022. The chart doesn't show it, but remember, it's 25 to 28% increase every single week back in 2021 and 2022. So taking a 1.52% negative is nothing, okay? So you're talking about two different extremes, okay? So now that's also a good signal for the buyer as well. That means, again, this is also a confirmation that it is not a crash market, because the crash market, we're going to have expecting a much bigger negative number, but it is not, right? And secondly, this signal to the buyers that the seller also willing to negotiate. They're willing to drop the price to get the deal done. They're willing to give you the incentive to get the deal done, right? So every single day that you delay as a home buyer, you lose your chance, okay? Because what if the interest rate go down? Right? Then a lot of people come into the market, and therefore you have to competing with a lot of people. Okay. Now talking about competition, let's talk about the listing under contract, because this one actually showing the demand activities of housing, specifically in Chandler, Arizona. We have about 300 homes that get under contract last week, and this is considered like a very, half of the highest back in 2016 and 2020, right? Only 300, very minimal. And when you compare to the active listing count, there's about 690 homes available today. So it's more than double. It's more than double, okay? So that's the reason why when there's a lot of supplies available on the market and there's almost half of the demand available on the market, therefore they have the choice. The buyer have the choice. So the buyer is going to take longer time to look at houses, available houses to dump, right? They're going to not rushing in making the decision. They're going to negotiate hard, okay? Of course, it's not like every single offer will be accepted. For example, I got an offer into one of my listing and the agent negotiate like $30,000 less than asking, 6% seller concession, 3% buyer agent. Well, it's almost $100,000 less that the seller will get back. Those kind of negotiation, I'm not talking about that because Chandler is not the market that we negotiate that hard. I can negotiate that in Mesa, in Chandler, but not in Chandler, right? So that's the balance there. When you are able to negotiate, doesn't mean that, unless the house is in horrible condition, in a horrible neighborhood, this is not the one. If you're asking for $100,000 less than asking, which is not acceptable. So strategy matters. So even though you are able to negotiate, right? Negotiate right with the right strategy will give you the win better instead of just lasting forever and forever, right? And that all of those strategy I will be able to talk in the buyer webinar for free. It's happening next week, so feel free to scan the QR code and attend next time. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.